In this video, I'm going to go over a couple of tips and tricks that'll help you build the best possible tower. The goal really is that you'll build the lightest yet strongest tower possible using the materials that you've got, which is the balsa wood and the crazy glue and an X-Acto knife. The reason that we're going with what's the lightest is that in the real world, that would translate to how much you're spending on the actual building itself. So you could think of the weight of it as in terms of money. For example, in the real world, somebody making a skyscraper would not want to spend $37 million on a skyscraper when they could only spend $35 million. The first step that you're going to do is spend some time researching and brainstorming a couple of different ideas to start with. So you'll come up with 5 or 6 sketches on one page. Then you're going to pick one of your 5 or 6 and build a real size version of it on paper. And so by real size, this means that if it's 10 by 5, that's what it'll be on your paper as well. It should be done really accurately and with a ruler, so much so that it could actually fit perfectly on the paper once you're done with it. A couple of building tips that I'm going to go over with you that'll help you be successful. Here's some of the balsa wood sticks that you'll have. And you'll definitely be using rulers and things like that to be more accurate. And so if you want your tower to be 12 inches tall, you want to be really precise. So you can see that I've got the pin right on the 12-inch mark. And you're going to want to draw a line. That'll be your cut line. So you don't want it to be too far or too short ahead. You're going to cut it right on the mark, not a little bit below it and not ahead of it. Otherwise, your building will be off center and it'll probably get crushed pretty fast. Then you'll rock in your X-Acto blade and make a good cut. Be sure to keep your fingers clear because X-Acto knives are pretty dangerous. When you're ready to glue, make sure you're getting a good contact. So you can see both surfaces are really connected, and you don't want to have it angled where there's a lot of gap because there's not much contact. So you want it to be straight on. If you do end up cutting some pieces that are at an angle, then you actually need to cut the tip of the piece of balsa wood at an angle as well. That way you get a good contact surface. So there'd be a 45-degree angle, then you would cut the tip of it at 45 degrees also. Doing something like that is going to be a weak example. When you're cutting your piece of balsa wood, it's really common for people to want to saw it, but that's actually not a great way to cut it. First, you might end up poking a finger. The best way to do it is to rock it in, just kind of rock down like I'm doing right now, and it'll make a really pretty good cut. And that way you don't poke a finger as well. When you're adding glue, you want to put just a tiny bit on there, and then you'll want to push it in with your fingers. If you're using a lot of glue like that, number one, it'll take forever to dry. And then number two, it might get stuck to the table or whatever it is you're working on. And it's just bad craftsmanship. So you don't want to be globbing on your glue like that. That's a bad example. You want to have just a tiny little drop on there, almost like you can't see it. And then you're going to really press it in together so that the glue fills in any gaps that are on there. And you'll probably need to hold for 10 to 15 seconds so that it takes. Some good examples of craftsmanship are right here. So you can see all of the students' lines match up pretty good. It's almost like you have an X in there, but they're all 4 individual pieces. Even though this is a little bit sloppy, the angles are still pretty decent. You can see there that they cut the angles in either a 45 or a triangle. This is a pretty bad example of craftsmanship and also one that would not hold up very well.